Good morning, Suzanne Joy.
Good morning.
Um, it dawned on me that we don't have an intro to even talk to people who don't know us about what we do, about what the School of Light is. And I just want to point to if you have any questions about our background, we're happy to share those. So comment in the thing. And there's also links to find out more about Suzanne or myself or the School of Light or Gene Keys in the uh, information below the video. So, first of all, I just want to say happy equinox.
Happy equinox.
I don't know about
Yay.
happy. Can we just say equinox blessings maybe because it's a mixed bag and I don't want people to feel like it needs to be a like we have an expectation that it has to look a certain way like you're
Right.
supposed to be in good
Okay.
spirits or yeah.
Sure. Spring equinox.
Yeah, there you go. So we are, and I haven't checked recently. I have different apps on my new phone. So normally I would have a thing that would show the sunrise and the sunset so that you'd say total amount of daylight and nighttime. I could see that. We're probably right at that place. It's normally around now or up through the 25th where it gets to be equal in my location. I mean, I think it depends on where you are. So, um, and I want to celebrate that, yes, we have equinox, but we're also in the pulse of Gene Key 25.
Oh, me. Gene Key 25. So when we're talking about gene keys from Richard Rudd, and it this is all related to three different states of consciousness. And you're probably very familiar with the shadow of this because we all do it, and that's constriction. Um, but out of constriction comes acceptance,
Mhm.
and which is beautiful. And the citic state or the higher essence is universal love.
Yeah. And I've been playing with that. So, like, when I see the constriction, I'm like, oh, hello. And I'm trying not to be constricted against the constriction. You know what I mean? And then he was talking, I was listening to the audio transmission this morning, and even though I'm so aware and have been studying this gene key because it's in my personal profile very prominently, for over a decade, I still learn new things each time I listen or read or contemplate it. And what I was hearing this morning is there's a huge difference in resignation, when you look at the allow, accept, embrace, um, and surrender. And I'm really starting to notice the difference in my body around that because when I go into resignation, like, well, nothing I can do about that, man. I mean, that is not really allowing it. I mean, I'm kind of still pushing it away, which is constricting against the constriction. So thoughts? And I know you had probably an amazing group session last night. So what are you feeling? What are you hearing in the collective? I'm just going off of my personal experience because I haven't been out as much in the world.
Well, the wisdom that popped out of our session last night was we shimmer through our rebirth
Mm,
and remembering that health is our wealth. And so really taking care of our being, our bodies to in essence, as we are evolving,
hmm
um, allowing ourselves more light to come in ourselves.
Yeah. So there's a receptivity there. That's another word that I love because it's kind of a foreign thing I've had to learn in the last 20 years. But the can I soften and open enough to receive
Right,
versus gimme, 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 which had
right.
been my style in the past. So this, and I can just feel the difference when I soften and open. That is my natural state of receptivity. where I breathe in and I exhale, and I do this exchange, sacred exchange, which we all do.
Right.
Why does that, such something so simple, feel like it took me 50 years to figure out?
And it's funny enough. I went to um, my Archangel Michael deck, and I haven't picked up this deck, God bless him, in a really long time. But for some reason, I was like, okay, I'll just pull a card. I haven't seen, or I mean, I talked to Michael, but I haven't played with Oracle.
Oh, and he used to be part of my divine team.
Right.
When I would drop into energy space to do an energy healing, I would always plant my
Yeah.
teachers, and he was always at my back.
So you're gonna love this card then, because
Oh, good.
this card is all about, I can't make this up, eternal love.
Oh man.
And it's a beautiful card with, just having that protection, that knowing that you are ever present and enveloped in love. And the prayer is, help me perceive that all of the love that surrounds me so that I can feel safe receiving, expressing, and giving love.
Yeah. Yes to that, please. Oh,
So,
please.
yeah, eternal love. And, this,
So this is like the grandmother of the grandmothers of love. I mean, like universal love is like okay, we're going beyond ecstatic love and, you know, embodiment love and all of these other dimensions of love. So universal love. Go ahead. I want to hear your thoughts.
no, I just, it encompasses all of the other types of love that we have. And I think we talked about this last year when we were on this topic, and all about it too. But like, you've got all the passionate love, the human love. This
The
is
sexual love.
sexual love. This is, after all that stuff burns away, this is the constant. This is the ever present eternal love.
Um, and I really like how Richard said, this is the love that is God. God is love.
Right.
And or how some people call it God.
Yeah.
And where I have turned that more into a mother God. But the thing around this all encompassing love, and I think it's like uh I've been thinking all along that this being part of my gene keys, I was just like, oh yeah, this is, I want to be loving. Yeah, well, what dimension of love? There's rapture, there's ecstatic, there's compassion, because they're all different flavors of love. Do you remember them all? I know those are three: compassion, rapture, ecstatic, and there's a couple more. So where and we talked about doing something about breaking down all those different love things, which I think would be a very cool thing for us to do before I head out of the country. And the reason why I'm saying that is because now more than ever, I can feel my system just craving softness, love. I started watching uh, a new, not biopic, but it was a story. It was a true story on a family that adopted a child in Indiana or whatever, and it was promoted all over the place, and it was on Hulu, and I tuned into it last night because I liked the actors in it, and I couldn't watch it. It was so dark, and I thought, this does not feel good to my system. And I normally I'm like, oh, just give it a chance and finish the show. No, no. My whole being said, this is not what you want to tune into. So then I have my go-tos, my favorites, and of going to something that just makes me tap into that softer self. PBS
Oh yeah.
as I love, and uh, all creatures great and small. I had a client that was like, there's a new season out. I can't wait because I've already watched the last 5 seasons 4 times. And, but I mean, it was her happy place to tune into when she got home from work, and she just needed to like, there is good in the world. And it's so beautifully done, you know?
Mhm.
Um, anyway, more of that, please. So tuning into love, what do you think?
Tuning into love. And let's honor this equinox, the darkness. We just came out of that seasonal path of darkness in the womb space, and at least if you're in the northern hemisphere.
Yeah.
um, Sorry, let me rephrase that for all us that are on the southern hemisphere. Sorry, you're going to be going into it.
Yeah, where I'm going. I'm rethinking my whole packing list now. I was like thinking it was going to be warm. No, I'm looking at the
No,
temperatures.
no. So, yeah, let's just honor that being in that darkness. I mean, and think about what is darkness.
Well, it is the feminine. It is the incubation space. It is the womb space. It is the being underground. It is the what happens when you burn it all to the ground and then the regeneration begins. It's like it's necessary to feed, to nurture what's coming. It also is. I'm so lucky where I am because it's so beautiful. I've got blooming trees around me, my star magnolia, and the hyacinths are up, those really beautiful scented purple flowers, and daffodils, and I mean it is glorious. And those things weren't there 3 weeks ago. You just saw dark ground with bare branches and and they wouldn't be possible. This is what's
Right.
so funny is my daughter is a landscape artist, designer, gardener person in Australia. She is intrigued with bulbs. Not she grew up around tulips and daffodils, but she doesn't understand how they work. She goes, how do they like go to sleep and then wake up and then bloom and then die? And then it's like the funniest thing to her because you plant something there and it just stays all year round. So this is what I feel like we're in the space of opening into showing up, receiving the sunlight. And I want to honor that because we forget and we tend to think it's just always going to be dark.
Right. I would too. Spring, spring. And, you know, this is the time where you just really can be I don't want to say glorify, but being out in nature, having sun on your face, um, being outside
Oh,
has a whole new feel to it.
yeah. And uh, even though we've had very, very high winds here, so it went from 80 degrees the other day to today it's 35. And I'm like, so I'm pulling back out the sweater. I had gotten to short sleeves and capri pants or, shorter leggings. And I'm like, I'm back down to. So where I want to invite people on this equinox is how do you celebrate the beauty of darkness, the beauty of your shadow, and honor it so that you can glean the juice out of those shadows to feed your gifts. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Because it's all nutrients
Mm-hmm.
for the
Like
new.
compost, right? um, and if we were to leave them with some practices, um,
I
huh?
I have an invocation that I want to read.
Sure.
That would be useful. And maybe put your hand on your heart and just feel into this invocation of light. as we move from darkness to light in the Northern Hemisphere. And on this equinox, we honor balance, renewal, and the beauty of our unfolding essence. We open to love, to life, and the infinite embrace of all that is. May we allow, accept, and embrace ourselves fully, just as nature does. So it is.
And so be it. Thanks be. That's pretty beautiful. And find the places where the constrictions are and love on them. It's the only way for them to soften.
Yeah.
That exercise where you have all of your fears and anxieties and everything and tight, and you hold them so tightly. And here, this is a lot of mindset stuff too, our neural pathways of believing it has to look like this. And we might start feeling ourselves constricting watching the news or whatever. So anyway, hold it all super, super tight. And I invite you to do this with me with your right hand. So you're squeezing, like my fingernails are going into my palms. And you take your left hand and you try to go, okay, open. And it's not, I'm like, no way you're getting in there. I'm not letting you in. And then you take your left hand and put it underneath and just cradle it and notice what happens. Doesn't necessarily open right away, but boy, is there a softening. And I feel like when we are kind to the constrictions, when we are compassionate, when we are not just allowing, but there's a whole different level of acceptance and love that allows them to go, okay, well, I was just trying to protect you.
And recognizing all that is, right? But what if we really understood ourselves as divine beings having this human experience, and that we are safe in the divine?
Oh, so safe. That's what we talked about before I hit the record button, is I've been telling myself with all of the deadlines that are looming for me in the next 4 days, I, I'm safe. What gets done gets done. What doesn't get done doesn't get done. And I am safe regardless.
Right. Exactly. And your path is your path.
And that's where,
It's an unfolding.
yes. And I want to speak to the seven sacred seals really quickly about universal love being one of those seals. And yes, what a great book. And how do we, this particular key, Gene Key 25, is the third seal, and it's about healing the core wounding of
Mm,
humanity, not just our own core wounds. Yes, that's all
right.
to be healed. But when we not work on, when we love on our core wounding, it opens and softens the space for humanity's core wounding to be healed. And that's what I believe those of us who are awake enough, aware enough, um, compassionate enough, the light beings of now, the wisdom sharers of now. This is our work.
Yeah. And this key specifically is healing shame.
Oh,
And it is the mental realm.
yeah,
And
it's that anxiety thing of I need to do it better, I need to do it faster, I need
right.
to do it, which is exactly what's been going on in my mind. I did get taxes done, but now it's like how many other things? I'm like, if I have to go and take dirty laundry and wash it there,
Oh well.
it'll
Yeah.
be.
Yeah. The prime teaching is that love ends suffering.
Love and suffering. To love the suffering or just love and suffering? Like let them coexist? Is that kind of like the equinox?
It says not and, ends. Love,
Oh, thank you.
love and
Love ends
suffering.
suffering.
Yeah.
And is there shame around our humanness? Is there shame around the suffering? I mean, where does this shame that's so big, it just feels so collective, even if we work on our own. And those of us who grew up with religious backgrounds, very often we have a lot of shame that we've been carrying around. How do we, this is a big thing to allow, accept, and embrace, right? Within the humanity. So, what's the key? I mean, this is the mudra. What is the, do you know what uh tone or key, what is there a something to hum or reverberate within our bodies that would be healing and softening?
Well, the first thing that comes to my mind is the heart note. So let me hit the sound button.
Yes, please. Yes, please. Yes. And when we pause, each time we pause, we're adding to the collective healing. I believe that's so true. And I'm going to put in a plug for the Triple Flame app that
Mhm.
has a series of timers you can set, and then there's all kinds of ways to pause. You can pause in silence or to music or to a guided meditation. You can do 1 minute or 10 minutes or whatever feels appropriate at the time. And I've been noticing that it doesn't always mean that I have to stop and sit with my eyes closed or with them open staring out the window, but I can still like do dishes.
Yeah, you can be present. It's just acknowledging your presence, that you're being conscious as you're moving around the cabin.
You remember that word we used to use all the time, mindfulness?
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah. And it's even more than that. It's embodied presence.
correct. Yeah.
Yeah. I
Right.
thank you for that, Suzanne. I love that sound. And I hope it was healing and opening and softening for each of you.
Yeah. And I just want to extend a huge heart hug to
Mm,
anyone that is feeling overwhelmed or out of their pure essence. We see you.
yeah.
You are loved. You are held in the divine always.
And these are tears of gratitude. They're not, they're of so much beauty in the world that I'm hoping and praying that we start noticing more of because our attention immediately goes to what's wrong. Okay, my attention immediately goes to, oh, that hasn't done, that needs to be fixed. So, um, that compassion for self is so important. Thank you, Suzanne. And to all of you, have a blessed equinox, and we'll see you soon to talk more about love and showing up as love and embodying love. And take care.